Hey guys, how are ya? Finally back home from vacation. So I have not had a chance to look at the market right now. I got inundated with phone calls. I made the mistake of turning on my ringer, and I get phone calls from everyone. And they mean well. They want to wish me welcome backs and all that, but they don't understand that I'm trying to work here, and I've got a lot of stuff going on, and I get frustrated sometimes, guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just look at the market with you guys here. I want to kind of be prepared a little bit before I started the recording. But like I said, I don't want to prolong this anymore. I know you guys are eagerly waiting. So let's see what's going on. It looks like we're falling right now. We're at 30, 63, 65. My alerts have been going off on my computer like crazy. Everything's falling, and we kind of knew that. Yesterday, I thought that maybe we might get a short squeeze because the shorts were at an all-time high. They were like at 39,000 contracts. Looking at the trading view here, this is what I saw yesterday here. I mean, it was really close all-time high, almost 40,000, 39,000 contracts. So I was expecting a short squeeze. We've been seeing that a lot lately. When the contracts get up there at 38, 39, we see a big green candlestick liquidating him, but it didn't happen. And I figured that at least we would go up to about 60, 67 or so. That's why I made this chart yesterday, thinking, okay, maybe we hit here before we go back down and see if we test the support at 62.44. Now, this support here was based off the Tensor heat map charts. That's where the support for the sell was. But I noticed late last night, that they took away that support and they lowered it to 6,000. So that's telling me that the market makers want to drop this even further. There was some support. Half of the support that I saw at 6,000 was at 62. Let me pull that up now. Let me see. I should have had this ready. When I do the screen share, this doesn't work very well, unfortunately. There's a little bit of a delay when I do the screen sharing on QuickTime, so I have a hard time navigating through a lot of things. That's why I typically try to have everything ready. So all I have to do is click on the tabs. Yeah, this is going to take too long. Like I said, you guys can look at it on your own. 6,000 right now is the major support. And so I think that we might go down that low. In any case, I'm not in anything. I know a couple of you guys, I saw that some people bought Ethereum they were excited buying it at $220. They said they couldn't pass it up. Things like that is what you want to be careful, guys. When things are dropping, just because it's a lot cheaper than it was a couple of days ago, doesn't mean it's time to go in. Just because you see it cheap. Then you're sitting here now, and what's Ethereum at right now? Let's see, it's 209. So now you just lost $10 for every Ethereum you bought, and you might not have bought it much, but you know, $10 is $10 per Ethereum. So things like that, you never want to get excited. That's part of FOMOing as well. Buying stuff even when it's dropping and it hasn't fully dropped yet, or it's uncertain, you don't want to just go in just because you've seen it cheaper than it was last week. There could still be a long ways for it to drop. So it's always good to wait for a signal like BTC bottoming out and then going on the bounce like we did the other day. That's a good time to buy. When BTC goes on a really large drop and we know that 800, 500, 800 is a big drop. It dropped $1,100. So that's why I was very confident that day in going into all those alts that we did and not even worry about putting a stop loss because we were only going to bounce from there. We didn't have much of a bounce. As you can see here, we're starting to go down a little bit more, and I do hope that we see $5,800 soon. It's not guaranteed yet. Nothing is guaranteed, but we might stop at 6,000 for a while, kind of go sideways there. But I think they're trying to bring the market down slowly to not really shock everyone. So $1,100 is a huge drop. So I think some sideways action leading into September 30th announcement of the denial of the ETF, which more than certain is going to happen. They're going to deny it. That's going to help them push it even further down to 58 or possibly even 5,000. That's what I'm looking for. And I've been holding that stance for months now. And I really do think that's what's going to happen here. On the short term for Bitcoin, let's see here. We got the 1 hour is not looking too good. The 4 hour, you can see the RSI here showing a downtick. So it's showing this some more further selling off action. Even though it's in a really good position here, it's in a really oversold area, it still feels like it has more to go. MACD is pointing a little bit bearish. You see a little peak. Let me zoom up a little bit. See how it's already starting to angle down. So it looks like we're going to see a little bit more downplay. We might see a couple of spikes, up and down. Nothing goes straight down. Everything goes down, comes up a little bit, giving that false hope, then bringing it down. Those false hope areas that I call false hope, when you see stuff like, let me pull this up here. So right here, this is a perfect example of a false hope. You got these little green areas here, the little green candlestick, not arrows, candlesticks. This is a lot of people. You know what this comes from? Guys buying it because they're seeing it go down. They're like, oh my God, it's so cheap. It's only 209. And they start buying here, not realizing there's still more stuff to go. This is all new people buying. This is not expert traders. These are not experienced traders buying this here. When this goes completely down and the RSI and the indicators are going neutral or even pointing up or have a nice little uptick, that's when we can start saying, okay, let's look at that. And it's got to be on more than one time frame. For instance, the 1 hour RSI, see how it's pointing up? It's still not convincing to me because I'm looking at the next time frame here and there's still a lot of room to go. It's not even a neutral. So we have to wait for that. This is a perfect example of what I mean by that. So I posted this yesterday on the general room and I showed this pattern here. Some of you didn't quite understand what I meant and I wasn't too elaborate. So let me explain what I meant by this here. So you see this drop here, you see this big pull. This is what I call a bear flag. So it's the reverse of a bull flag. So here's a bull flag, the pull here, this downward price action, even though it has a little bit of highs and lows, but then it breaks to the upside. If you were to take this upside down, this is what it looks like. So this pattern here is reminding me of this here. Now, this little false promise, false hope is what I call false hope. People start looking at this and thinking, okay, well, that's it, we're reversing. And then look what happens, they drop some more. Okay, oh boy, now hold on, I clicked it. Okay, then the same thing happens over and over again until it finally finds bottom. So we just have to be careful. These areas here are good areas to play, but these are more for scalping. Really short, maybe 1 day top trades before it starts to go back down. This here is a perfect example. This is the bounce that we played right here, and look what happened. It just started going back down more. A lot of our entries that we had on this drop to here on the altcoins are now at that same point right now. So we'll see with this here if we're going to continue to go down. I don't see us going up here and completing a W. I think we're slowly going to go sideways and do one of these actions here. Start dropping the market down slowly to get into those levels that the market makers need to buy. When they drop this, they're going to drop it hard. And these guys are going to want to pay pennies on the dollar. They're not going to be buying Bitcoin at $6,000. So that's why I am very adamant that we're going to see at least 58 to 5,000. 58 is my first stop only because it completes my gap chart on Bitcoin that I've had open for about 3 months. So that's my first target. My second target is going to be the 5,000, 4,800 because that's where the cost of production is. And as we've seen, some of you guys know that in other markets like oil, they've come down to test from all-time highs, have come all the way down to test cost of production. So it's something that the market does. It's not something new to the market. And if we're going to start, these big boys are going to start coming into the market from Wall Street, they're going to want to see very similar moves to what they're used to. And they're going to want to buy it down at those price levels because they can see the potential and they can see where it's going. And they know where it's going. We're not going to see Bitcoin at 20,000. We're going to see Bitcoin at $50,000 to $100,000. When all of these ETFs come aboard, when we start getting custodial ships on these major platforms like Coinbase and Back, and Wall Street comes in and makes their own custodial ship, you're going to really see a huge spike in Bitcoin. So they know that. A lot of us, some of us here know, have an idea of what's going to happen. We don't know for sure, but we can just see the signs starting to go into that favor. So we just want to be prepared. But during those spikes, we definitely want to make some money. I mean, this is when we made 5, 6. ONT made us 20% in these little areas here. So these are the areas that we want to look for, but we don't want to buy it just yet. We want to make sure. There's a lot of uncertainty. You got to take into effect too, it's a Saturday. We know that typically on weekends, things don't move. Asia moves 70% of crypto. Asia is not open for business right now. It is Saturday here. They're waking up to their Sunday morning. So it's not time for work for them. So the US and the rest of the world is not going to really move crypto much. So I'm going to sit out this weekend unless I see some drastic moves by Bitcoin. I don't need to trade. I'm good. I made enough money for the week. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm not going to force trade. I'm going to secure my capital. So when the trades do come to us, we have plenty of money and plenty of capital to go in and out as we need to maximize our profit. I'm not one of those that believe that I should take a trade just because I put a stop loss. I hate stop losses. I am 100% adamant against stop losses, even though I use them. And the reason I say that is because a lot of people use the term stop loss as a green light to trade whenever they want. And that is a really, really bad mentality to have. That's how you get wiped out, and that's how you slowly start seeing your portfolio trickle down to nothing. And I'll give you an example. If you think that it's okay to take a trade just because you put a stop loss and you put it at 5%, do that 10 times. Lose 5% 10 times, and then 20 times. Slowly but surely, you start seeing your portfolio go lower and lower and lower and lower. That is not a reason to put a stop loss. To put a stop loss for me signifies that when I go into a trade, I'm going when I see a clear signal that we're going to go up. It might not always be like that, and it's not guaranteed. But this is a game of probability. So for me, the probability of it going up is going to be really, really high. So I'm comfortable not putting a stop loss like I did the other day. I went to sleep with $200,000 on the table. I didn't have one stop loss that I woke up the next morning because I was that confident that we weren't going to go anywhere. I came back the next morning. We were in profit. I started putting my stop loss at break even. I don't accept a 5% loss. I do not like that. I am very, very greedy and very stingy. For one, I only take a trade when I feel 100% confident that we're going to make some money on it. That's why you don't see me trading every day. Stop loss is not an excuse to trade. So you guys just have to get out of that mentality that it's okay to take a trade as long as you put a stop loss. That is the wrong mentality to have. And I see a lot of guys making that comment on the Discord channel. Let's see what else. Let's go to the Ethereum and look at that. Looks like the same thing. Everything's dropping. Look at this. RSI pointing down on the 4-hour. We have the EMAs above the price action. Let's look at the next one here. XLM on the 1-hour looks flatline, but the 4-hour is probably going to look exactly the same as everything else. Yep, RSI going down. All of these alts are going to have the exact same trajectory. 4-hour, 6-hour, everything's pointing down. We're going through a cool off, guys. Let's look at the next. That's ICE6. Let's look at ADA. Same thing. Look at that. Pointing down, pointing down. You can pretty much pick any one of these and they're going to look like that. And even if they didn't look like that, I still would not go in because remember the rules. When you go into an altcoin, not only do you have to have the setup for the altcoin, but you have to have the setup for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is going down, I don't care what kind of setup you have on your altcoin, that is going to go down along with it. Very rarely do we see a coin that's in a breakout, and that's 1 in a million that you'll catch it. That you'll catch that exact same that one particular coin that's breaking out while Bitcoin's going down. They do happen, but I'm not playing those odds. So another one here, 4-hour NEO pointing down. Everything is pointing down. So today, guys, I will not take any chart requests because it's just going to be a waste of time. Everything is going to look like that. If you guys want to know what it looks like, open up your Coinigy. You guys should all have a software for charting by now. Either it's Coinigy or TradingView or whatever you use. Click on the 4-hour, set up your RSI and take a look at it and see what it looks like. And even if it doesn't, like I said, I don't recommend trading right now by the way that Bitcoin looks. Let's see what else I want to cover here. I'm going to make a video for you guys on the EMA. So I was not able to make it on vacation because the connection was really slow, but it's better. I'm at home, so I have a really good connection at home. So I'll be able to do that video and upload it real quick. I'm trying to look here on Bitcoin if I see anything. Yeah, look, it's just going sideways. We're going to see this really tight range here until we figure out if we're going to go down to 6,200. My first target, my second one being at 6,000. I do have a order on Bitcoin for 5,800. I said that last night before I went to bed in the event that we were to do a little flash crash. Just because I saw kind of a bear flag. I saw two things with Bitcoin yesterday. So I saw there was two ways to read it. And I think I made a comment on that yesterday on Discord. There's this wedge here that kind of, it was meeting the guidelines for breakout, and it didn't break out. It broke sideways. So this was a possibility for it to break out at the time I did this. And another one was a reverse, was a bear flag. So I was seeing bullish signals and I was seeing bearish signals depending on how you look at it. That's too uncertain for me to want to take a trade. So that's why I rather be cautious and I put an order in case it breaks down. I rather pick up an order when it goes down than try to get into it now hoping that it'll go up, because that's not going to benefit me at all. If I put a trade in when it's doing this and it's uncertain for the possibility of it going up, I'd rather play it safe. And I'd rather play it going down, because I know that if it goes down to 58, that's going to be about a 10% drop. And the chances of that, the likelihood of that is it's going to bounce and go up. So I'd rather make money on the upside than when it's sideways and it's uncertain. Let's see. I think that's pretty much it. I covered the alt. I covered Bitcoin. Let me look at the Texas crypto. I believe I asked you yesterday about the how to look for the order book. So you click on this button here on your Coinigy. So you have here is going to be the price action. I don't use this. It's just a different way of reading the candlesticks. I never really use that, but I click on here and it gives you the order book, just so you have for reference next time somebody asks you what the order book looks like. You can see here we have a lot of support on Bitcoin here. This support here, it looks really good. One of the things you want to keep in mind, guys, is try to use this as much as you can. Kind of flip on here, because this will tell you when you have fake walls and when you have more retail walls. And what I mean by that is a fake wall, generally you can tell. Look, see how quickly this shit disappears? Look at that. Look how fast it disappears. That's why these things are not really that reliable. But this, my point, what I was trying to explain is sometimes you'll see these huge walls. They go up to from right here like this, and you see them come straight down. Those are fake walls. When you see this type of action, where you see these little ridges, you see these little waves, this is retail. This is more of an accurate price order book, better said, order book. When you see these huge walls going up, and you'll recognize them if you get in here. If you make it a habit of going in here every time you look at price action and just kind of look at them, you'll identify them both in the green side and on the sell side, on the red side. You'll see that. And the reason they do that is they want to keep the price up at a certain point. So they don't want it to go any higher than, say, what is this here? Let's just give a number. They don't want to get more than 64, 6,500, whatever it is here. They'll put a huge wall of 100 BTC. And then when they want to move the market, you'll see the wall just completely disappear, and you go back here to this action, which is more retail action right here. This is a retail setup. Also down here, if you scroll up, it shows you the orders, where they're at and how much. So right here at 63.62, you have 6 Bitcoin in order, and the total is 40. Here the total is 46 Bitcoin, meaning that from this point and everything up to here totals 46 Bitcoin. Just so you know how to read that real quick. All right, guys, I'm going to end this here, and I'll make some other videos a little later, and we'll also have a group chat so we could answer any questions you guys have.